Hamlet the Hamster, the Great Toybox Escape. Sometimes, even the tiniest heroes come from the strangest places. Sometimes, all it takes is a fall. His name was Hamlet, not after the prince, mind you. He didn't read much Shakespeare, but if you asked him, he'd tell you he was royalty. A little round ball of fur and fire, orange, with a white streak down his side, and eyes that sparkled like glass beads when he ran. Hamlet lived a cozy life, a good life. He had a cage full of fluffy bedding, a silent running wheel, and a food bowl that never went empty. The human boy, Jesse, fed him fresh treats every evening and whispered secrets to him when the world felt too loud. For a while, that was enough. Until the day Hamlet vanished. It started with a thunderstorm, the kind that turns midday into midnight and makes the walls hum, the power flicker, the window rattled, and then, with a boom of thunder and a crash of plastic, Hamlet's cage fell. The lid popped open, bedding scattered like confetti, and Hamlet, dazed and wobbling, did what no one expected. He ran. He didn't know why. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe the storm scared him. Maybe the sight of the open world beyond the table sparked something ancient and wild inside him. But the moment he crossed the edge of the desk and dropped to the carpet below, his adventure began, and he would never be the same. At first, it was thrilling. So many smells, so many corners, so much under the couch. But then came the fall. Hamlet scurried along the edge of a bookshelf, nose twitching, when he stepped too far and dropped right into it. The toy box. It was massive. Not the kind of toy box you imagine. This one was more like a bin, an ancient plastic container, half cracked, stuffed with forgotten toys, plastic soldiers, bouncy balls, tangled yo-yos, and dusty action figures missing arms. And now Hamlet was trapped. At first, he called out. Little squeaks, chirps, scratching, but no one heard. Jesse was away at his grandparents' for the weekend. The parents were busy, and the storm had knocked out the lights. No one knew. Hamlet had fallen into the abyss of toy history. He was alone, except he wasn't. The toys had changed. In the dark, things had awakened. First, there was the bouncing eye, a rubber eyeball on a spring. It stared at Hamlet from across the box, twitching slightly every time he moved. Then came the soldiers, tiny plastic men frozen in battle pose, but Hamlet could feel them watching. And in the corner, Earth King, a giant action figure, arms broken, but crown intact. Once called Lord Galaxor, now draped in a string of glitter as if it were a cape. He spoke with a voice of crinkled plastic. Outsider, why have you entered the kingdom of Toygrave? Hamlet blinked. Then in the most confident squeak he could muster, he replied, I fell. Galaxor narrowed one painted eye. No one falls into Toygrave and leaves unchanged. If you wish to escape, you must pass the trials. Trials? Hamlet thought. I just wanted a sunflower seed, but he didn't say no, because deep down, something inside him, something brave, or stupid, or both, whispered, say yes. Trial 1. The maze of lost marbles. A swirling sea of glass and confusion. Hamlet had to cross the box, hopping and sliding between slippery spheres. One wrong move, and he'd be buried in shifting color. He slipped. He scrambled. At one point, a rogue yo-yo nearly flattened him, but he made it. Trial 2. The Tower of Wobble Blocks. Stacked building blocks made of wood and time. To pass, Hamlet had to climb, leap, and balance across them while the tower creaked and tilted. Halfway up, he nearly fell, but a gust of wind from the vent shook the tower just right, and he landed with a roll onto a pile of plushies below. Trial 3. The Realm of the Stuffed. A zone ruled by a one-eyed teddy bear who believed Hamlet was a spy. You work for the Slinkies, don't you? No, squeaked Hamlet. The bear narrowed his button eye. Then prove it by finding my missing ear. And so Hamlet did, under a broken RC car tire, tangled in an old Game Boy wire. The bear, impressed, nodded once and whispered, You're different, little one. You're not just passing through, you're changing the box. Days passed, or maybe hours. Time was strange in the toy box, but Hamlet began to earn their trust. The Wind-Up Mouse Brigade made him an honorary member. The Crayon Council offered him a medallion made of a Lego piece. Even the creepy Jack in the Box bowed to him. He told stories of the outside, of warm blankets, of fresh food, of the boy named Jesse, and something amazing happened. The toys began to hope, but one night, as Hamlet dreamed of sunflower seeds and running wheels, everything changed. The storm returned. This time, fiercer than before, a new crack split the side of the toy box, and cold snow began to fall through a hole in the ceiling above. The toy box began to fill, not with dreams, but with frost. Hamlet acted fast. He rallied the plushies. He called the soldiers. He even convinced the springy eyeball to serve as lookout. Together, they formed a chain, lifting the weakest toys to higher ground. Hamlet gnawed through an old shoelace and used it as rope. The water rose. The snow kept falling. But when morning came, were alive. Heroes were born that night, and Hamlet, the hamster who once just wanted a snack, became something more, a symbol, a legend. Then Jesse returned. He found the cage empty. He panicked, but then he saw a trail, tiny paw prints in the dust, a squeak from the toy box. He reached in, pulled back a sock puppet, and found Hamlet cold, wet, and wrapped in a scrap of ribbon like a warrior's cloak. He cried, whispered, "You're safe." Hamlet was back in his cage that night, but something had changed. He didn't run on his wheel as much. He sat and looked toward the bookshelf. If waiting. If remembering. Because even now, if you lift the lid of that old toy box, some say you can still hear whispers. The Prince of Plastic lives on. So if you're still watching with us after this tiny epic tale, like this video if you believe in the secret lives of toys. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories of small heroes with giant hearts. And in the comments below, tell me, if you fell into the toy box, which toy would you befriend first? Your answer might inspire our next episode. Because sometimes the greatest escapes start with a fall, and sometimes, just so Hamlet the hamster becomes a legend.